Good evening and welcome to Newswatch on this Thursday, the 20th day of May 2021. Thank you for choosing Hope TV, where you look and live. My name is Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let us get started. President Uhuru Kenyatta has unveiled the first berth of the 32-berth seaport in Lamu. The new port, which will mainly handle transshipment cargo, comes at a time when nearly all the ports in the region are undergoing upgrades to meet growing demand. The first commercial ship docked at the new Lamu Port on Thursday, which is today, ahead of the formal launch by President Kenyatta. The launch is a major milestone for the regional 2.5 trillion Kenya shillings Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia Transport Corridor Project, LAPSET, launched in 2012. Alice Diana tells us more.
Lamu Port has officially been opened for business after President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday presided over the launch of the first berth of the 32-berth seaport 9 years since its construction began. The berths were built at a cost of about 40 billion shillings, and the port is built as a catalyst to the growth of the country's blue economy. The foundation stone of the LAPSET project was laid by former President Mwai Kibaki in 2012. Speaking during the operationalization of the first berth at the new Lamu Port, the president said operationalization of the berth marks a key milestone in the rollout of the regional Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia Transport Corridor Project, LAPSET.
For a variety of reasons, the project was not able to take off. But today, after a long journey, we are here to make that dream a reality. A new chapter unfolds today in the development and transformation of Lamu, a chapter now that joins the transformation that is taking place in every part of our country.
Once complete, the president said the 32-berth seaport and its associated infrastructure will help transform regional economies through increased trade, integration, and interconnectivity.
So this indeed is a momentous feat, and it marks an important milestone towards the realization of our key objective of Vision 2030 to transform regional economies through increased trade, integration, and interconnectivity.
Uhuru said the Kenya Ports Authority should give employment opportunities to the local youth first. He noted that they will in a few months' time come back to Lamu with several African heads of state to launch all the 3 berths of the port.
By July, berth number 2 will be ready, and by October of this year, the last berth, which is berth number 3, shall also be operational.
During the launch of the port, the head of state witnessed the docking and discharge of cargo from MV Cape Camel, the first vessel to dock at the new Lamu Port. The 204-meter Singaporean container ship is sailing from the port of Dar es Salaam, headed to Salalah in Oman. He issued a certificate of first call to the captain of the vessel. A second vessel to dock at the facility was the MV Siago Line. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
Thank you, Alice, for that report. Now, Lady Justice Martha Koome will tomorrow take oath of office at State House, Nairobi, after President Uhuru Kenyatta confirmed her nomination by the JSC and the National Assembly. Thereafter, Chief Justice Koome will proceed to her new office at Supreme Court, where she will be received by the Judicial Service Commission, JSC. The Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, Chief Registrar of the Judiciary Anne Amadi, Supreme Court judges, and the Judiciary Leaders Advisory Council. Meanwhile, on Monday, May 24, 2021, the Judiciary will host an Assumption of Office ceremony to hand over instruments of power to the new Chief Justice. Dickens Luvanda now reports. Next story. The Kenya Revenue Authority has destroyed contraband excisable goods. The goods were compounded in the course of the financial year and have an estimated market value of at least 1 billion Kenya shillings and a tax implication of about 400 million Kenya shillings. The products were destroyed in Stony Athi, Kajiado County on Wednesday by a multi-agency team led by the Kenya Revenue Authority. Dolly Murigi tells us more.
The Kenya Revenue Authority on Wednesday destroyed contraband goods worth 1 billion with a tax implication of 400 million. The products seized from various traders in Central and Rift Valley and its environs were being sold in contravention of various regulations as provided for under the Excise Duty Act and could have led to a loss of over 400 million shillings in tax revenues. KRA impounded the products in partnership with the various government agencies that constitutes the multi-agency team charged with combating illicit trade and contraband goods established by President Uhuru Kenyatta in May 2018. According to the Commissioner for Domestic Taxes, Rispa Simiyu, KRA has been in the culmination of long hours to combat the menace of contraband goods countrywide.
As we are destroying these goods worth about 1 billion seized across the country, with a tax value of about 400 million. This reflects the zeal and determination by the government to eradicate illicit trade within our borders. I am extremely proud of the team that has worked together tirelessly to make this a success. Today's exercise should send a strong warning to all perpetrators of illicit trade and dealers of contraband and counterfeit products in this country.
Among government agencies in the multi-agency team are Office of the President, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Kenya Bureau of Standards, Anti-Counterfeit Agency, NACADA, and the Department of Public Health. Among the illicit goods destroyed were wines, spirit, cigarettes, and fake stamps, with at least 33 people having been arrested.
We now have empowering laws which enable us to punish perpetrators in a more punitive manner. This then will help deter this vice. And this also is through prosecution of the suspects and seizure of their products and machinery used in production of these goods.
The vices not only pose unfair competition to legally trading products in the market, but also pose potential health hazard to unsuspecting consumers. Illicit trade and contraband goods also lead to massive loss of government revenue through tax evasion.
This is a move that we have engaged our high gears as KRA in facilitating our taxpayers to file returns. Not just because of COVID, but the reality of COVID has opened our eyes wider to appreciate that so much can be done without the human touch and without the human intervention. We are having people, ideally for this year, people should have started filing returns from 1st of January. So it is important to know that from 1st of January all the way up to 30th of June, you have actually 6 months period to file returns for the previous years.
KRA continued to implement key strategic measures geared towards combating illicit trade and contraband goods in the accessible goods sector to not only protect genuine traders and consumers, but also seal revenue loopholes poked by unscrupulous traders.
As stipulated in our 7th corporate plan, we are heavily investing in technology to further stamp out illicit trade and counterfeit products. A key technological advancement that has been instrumental in our fight against counterfeit products and illicit trade is the integrated scanner management solution. We now have modern scanners at major points of entry into the country, which have enabled KRA intercept contraband goods.
The destruction exercise marks a crucial role in the fight against illegal trade and counterfeit goods in the country, as it also underscores the government's role in the fight against illegal trading in the country. Dolly Mirigi for Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. On COVID-19 numbers today, 494 people have tested positive to the disease from a sample size of 6,428 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now 7.7%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 166,876, and cumulative tests so far conducted are 1,763,274. 50 patients have recovered from the disease, 27 from home-based and isolation care program, and 23 are from various health facilities countrywide. Total recoveries now stand at 104,285. 83,081 are from home-based care and isolation, while 31,204 are from various health facilities. Unfortunately, 5 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, 2 having occurred in the last 24 hours, while 3 are late death reports after conducting facility record audits within the last 1 month. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 3,040. 1,085 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 4,624 patients are under the home-based isolation and care program. 109 patients are in the ICU, 20 of whom are on ventilatory support, and 67 on supplemental oxygen. 22 patients are on observation. As of today, a total of 948,980 persons have been vaccinated against the COVID-19 disease countrywide. Moving on, Garissa OCS Michael Munyalo was today arraigned in court over the Sunday shooting incident of 28-year-old Moses Kimathi at a club in Garissa town. In a sworn affidavit, Peter Wahome, the lead investigator, urged the court to detain the murder suspect for 14 days to allow them complete their investigation. The court, however, granted the investigators 10 days. On Monday, a section of Ameru community in Garissa took to the streets to protest the brutal murder of their colleague, accusing the police of trying to shield their own. The court denied the accused bail and instead directed that he be remanded at the Madogo police station for 10 days, pending further investigation.
I've also taken note of the objection by the Learned Defense Counsel, Ms. Tanzili, and I also note that the alleged offense took place on the night of 15th and 16th of May 2021, and the fact that the respondent was arrested yesterday. I equally take note that the respondent is a senior officer and the current OCS Garissa Police Station. I also take note of the length of service he has made to date, as indicated to me by the Learned Counsel. I have glanced at the authority relied upon by the defense in arguing this court to grant the respondent bond pending completion of investigations. I agree with the authority, though I will distinguish it because of the alleged offense, the said authority. They are not similar with the one presently in court. The investigating officer, having taken over this matter yesterday, and the fact that the respondent has continued to be in the office since the date of the alleged incident, and for the reasons given in the affidavit, I am inclined to grant the applicant 10 days to complete investigation. So the matter will be mentioned on 31st of May.
Let us now take our first commercial break on News Watch tonight. We have plenty more in store, so keep it Hope TV.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship. Only on Extended Worship.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
We praise together, we praise him.
Whether you are fat or thin, and for me, I don't consider myself fat. I consider myself good for my purpose, to hug women. When they come crying, and they come and hug me, they just come and I hug them and they cry and cry and cry until they are comfortable.
We praise together, we praise him.
Welcome back. Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya says the county government is committed to resolutely face the COVID-19 pandemic and take every necessary step required to protect the health and lives of citizens, including frontline workers and persons aged more than 45 years. Addressing the media at the county government offices, he said that so far 12,000 persons have been administered the vaccines and constructed isolation centers in hospitals and equipped them.
In Kisumu, quite a number of people have it, and this is because also Kisumu has a high Asian community there, and the fact that they travel to India now and then, this has contributed to that. But the preparation we had, one, I have already mentioned about the committee, eminent persons that advise us. Secondly, we have tried as the region through the CECs in charge of health. They meet quite frequently to exchange information about COVID-19. That has also helped us on preparedness. And of course, initially, as counties, we have made sure that we have enough ICU beds, we have oxygen in place, and this is what we have been doing. Because what we have takes time, and you know, it delays decision making. So rapid testing is what we require in this, and there are so many machines now. We are ready as counties to buy them. People have not turned out as required to be vaccinated. For example, here in Kakamega, out of a population of about 2 million people, only 24,000 people have been vaccinated up to now. despite the fact that we have doses about 36,000, only 24. So I urge wananchi to come forward. And this is because of the stories that are there, that if you are vaccinated, then it's family planning and such things. Some, if you are vaccinated, you have a chance of dying faster. All those myths have not helped.
Farmers in the North Rift have been called upon to maximize their income by planting and cultivating high-value crops, which will in turn fetch them huge profits due to the changing global farm products needs. Uasin Gishu County Deputy Governor Chemno said coffee, macadamia, and avocado, among other crops, are lately considered farm gems following big international appetites. The Deputy Governor said that traditional maize growing in the North Rift has turned to be a big challenge to farmers because they largely rely on government subsidies to purchase farm inputs or selling their produce. The county government started rolling out the diversification program as a way to uplift economic statuses of its county residents by making agriculture a profitable venture. The program has been running since 2017.
The other years na leo tunaona tunapanda, tunaenda mbele kwa ajili ya ukulima. Kutoka kupanda single agricultural product kama mahindi, tumediversify kulingana na advice mzuri kutoka wizara mbalimbali, kutoka county government. Tumetoka hiyo na tunaenda kupata a lot of benefits kwa ajili ya ile products mnatupatia.
Nashukuru maofisa wa agriculture vile wanakuja kutusaidia ili pia tukihudumia watu kwa hospitali ama kwa kanisa tupate pia kujitegemea kidogo. So nashukuru serikali ya county government ya Uasin Gishu kwa kutujumulisha sisi wote, hawajatuacha nyuma, na tunaomba wazidi wakiwa na mpango yoyote pia watuhusishe sisi pia kama kanisa, kwa sababu sisi wote tukikua jamii yote tunaponda.
Kama kila familia itakuwa na ekari 1.5 ama ekari 2 ya kahawa, hata mtoto akienda medical school Moi University hakuna rambe. Siri ya kuacha uombaji ni kufanya kazi ambayo inakuletea pesa, na hata kitabu ya Mungu inasema hivyo. Ukisoma Methali 30 fungu la 7 na hadi 10 nasema muje mtu anaambia Mungu, na kuomba vitu viwili unipatie kabla sijakufa. Ya kwanza, ondolea mimi ujinga. Ya pili, uache mimi nisikuwe maskini. Hii crops ambayo sisi kama serikali ya county tunahimiza: kahawa, macadamia, avocado na passion. Hiyo ni vitu ambayo itabadilisha maisha yetu forever.
Environmental stakeholders in Taveta County have embarked on an ambitious exercise that seeks to conserve the Voi River in the county and protect biodiversity. The rehabilitation of the Voi River has rekindled optimism amongst residents in the region that the endangered resource will be protected from further degradation resulting from destructive human activities. Kenya Forest Service conservator in Taveta County said the long-term rehabilitation program will entail intensive planting of indigenous trees in degraded riparian zones.
Kwa sema ukweli hatuwezi tukablame anybody vile, kwa sababu watu wengi wenye ama activities nyingi zenye zinaendelea kwa hii mto ni wananchi wakijaribu kujitafutia nini riziki na kujaribu kuana living Kuna sad harvesting yenye inafanyika kwa hii mto. Mostly tena utakuta kuna maybe kulima, watu wanalima mpaka karibu na mto sana. All that one is being addressed kwa sababu tunashirikiana na NEMA, National Environment Management Authority, to try to regulate hiyo maneno ya sad harvesting, and I hope tuko na ofisa wa NEMA hapa, and tunashirikiana ndio tuweze kuona all those areas zenye maybe sad harvesting imefanyika zimekuwa rehabilitated zirudi.
Manufacturers, hospitals and clinical laboratories have been urged to regularly calibrate medical equipment to reduce device-related errors in a bid to enhance patient care and safety in the country. Speaking during World Metrology Day celebrations organized under the theme Measurement for Health, Bernard Njiraini, KEBS Managing Director, called upon stakeholders in the healthcare sector to collaborate with the standards body in ensuring that medical devices are regularly calibrated to avoid erroneous measurements that can compromise a patient's well-being. Marked annually on 20th May, this year's World Metrology Day celebrations aimed to raise awareness on the significance of measurement in healthcare against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Metrology calibration is applied widely in health measurements. When you go to hospital, for example, blood pressure is very, very important parameter that the doctors use to make some decisions. So we normally calibrate all the blood pressure machines. We also do calibration of temperature measuring instruments, for example, the thermograms, which is the non-contact thermometers. We also provide calibration of what we call mass calibration. You know, when you go to hospital, the doctors want to take your weight and maybe determine whether your weight ratio and the BMS, the body mass index, BMI, is okay. So we also calibrate those balances that are being used or the weighing instruments that are being used in the hospitals. Yes, I think as Kenya Bureau of Standards, we talk about measurements. And we want to say that once measured, it gives you the accuracy. It gives you the confidence that you have, that what you are measuring is correct. Calibration gives you that confidence. Our laboratories here are accredited to ISO 17025. Kenya Bureau of Standards participates in international measurement comparisons with other major national metrology institutes, for example, NIST in the US, PTB of Germany, and we sent our engineers for training and also attachments there.
Let us cross borders. The Electoral Board in Ethiopia has announced that the general election will now take place on 21st June, 16 days later than planned. The country was supposed to hold nationwide elections last year, but they were postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The delay contributed to the escalation of political tensions as some groups accused Prime Minister Abiy Mohamed's administration of using the pandemic as a pretext to stay in power illegally. The Electoral Board revealed last week that logistical and operational difficulties, including belated voter registration in some areas due to recurring violence, meant it wouldn't be possible to conduct the polls on time. There have been concerns since that delaying the election day even by a few weeks could impact voter turnout negatively, as it will coincide with the mainly rainy season. In the conflict-hit Tigray region, the elections have been postponed indefinitely, while in the most populous state of Oromia, two major opposition groups are not running, raising concerns over the polls' credibility. This will be the first election since Abiy Ahmed became prime minister in 2018. Now, Israel's National Emergency Medical Service says the number of people killed in the violence has risen to 13. 10 were killed as a result of a direct heat explosion blast and shrapnel, while 3 others suffered critical injuries on their way to bomb shelters and died from their wounds. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says Israeli strikes have now killed 230 people, including 65 children, since the latest round of fighting began. According to Lebanese state-run media, an Israeli army patrol on Thursday dropped 3 smoke bombs and opened fire in the air towards farmers in Lebanon's Majri Plain. On Wednesday, the Israeli Defense Forces said 4 rockets had been fired from Lebanon into northern Israel, causing no injuries. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel will continue strikes despite U.S. and global calls for ceasefire.
We try to target those who target us with great precision. That is not as surgical an operation as it is. Even in a surgical room in a hospital, you don't have the ability to prevent collateral damage around the affected tissues. Even then you can't. And certainly in a military operation you cannot. But there is no army in the world that does more than the Israeli army, in the Israeli security services, in Israeli intelligence, to prevent collateral damage. To have Israel criticized for that is absurd.
Let us take another commercial break on Newswatch tonight. Business and sports news are coming up.
The shortest chapter in the Bible is Psalm 117, which says, "The Lord's truth endures forever." Now, that word truth in the Hebrew language is emeth, and the Jewish scholars and doctors tell us that that word's really interesting because it contains the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Mem, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Tau. And they say that's because the Alpha and Omega has a truth that is our comfort all in all from A to Z. In the same way, the Bible says that God is the author and the finisher of our faith. Paul said, "He who began a good work in you will be faithful to finish it." Now, that word for finish or complete is the word telestai in Greek, the same word that Jesus used on the cross when he said, "Te telestai, it is finished." Paul hijacked that word and was saying, as surely as Jesus carried his cross to completion, so too the Alpha and Omega will telestai, finish the work that he's begun in you. God is not just somebody who starts a project, he's somebody who finishes it to perfection. He's faithful all in all from A to Z, the Alpha and the Omega.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, "Angels, stand away." He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Welcome to Activate.
It's a good morning! Good morning!
Kickstart your day with George and Kerry on the Sweet Hour of Prayer.
And welcome to Activate, this being the station where you listen and live Hope FM.
From Nairobi to the world.
Great music just for you.
Activate.
The only show that keeps you activated!
Yes, indeed.
Activate. Every weekday morning from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Only on Hope FM, where you listen and live.
Welcome back. Kenyan integrated agribusiness firm Kakuzi PLC has celebrated the operationalization of the new port of Lamu with an inaugural 80-ton cargo of avocados destined for France. Fresh avocados grown at the Kakuzi PLC Makuyu orchards are part of the cargo loaded on cargo ship MV Siago Bremerhaven, which docked at the port of Lamu en route France. Speaking when he confirmed the farm's export load, Kakuzi Managing Director Chris Flowers said the operationalization of the port provides wider benefits for agribusiness farms that import farm inputs and export produce. He noted that this development begins to crystallize the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor project, which will benefit Kenyan producers immensely, and congratulate the government and the Kenya Ports Authority among the other development partners for this milestone. And in sports, a second half match winner by Derek Otangas gave Frank Ouna a rude welcome back to the top flight after KCB confined Mathare United to a 10th defeat of the season thanks to a 2-1 win in the midweek FKF Premier League fixture. The scoreline left Mathare rooted at the bottom of the table, with the Slum Boys staring at a possible maiden relegation from the top tier. Ruben Dia has been named the Football Writers Association, Footballer of the Year. The Manchester City defender, 24, joined the club for a club record 65 million euros in 2020 and has enjoyed a stellar debut season. Juventus are Coppa Italia's 2020-2021 champions after edging past Atalanta 2-1, and elsewhere, PSG are French Cup champions for the sixth time in the last 7 editions. Here's Joseph Maingi with the day's sports update.
Mathare United went down fighting 2-1 to KCB in the Football Kenya Premier League game played yesterday at the Ruaraka grounds in Nairobi. The win kept alive Zedekiah Zico Otieno League title hopes, while the defeat moves to consign Mathare United to the relegation. Derek Otieno ensured that the Bankers walked away with maximum point after netting the win at 15 minutes to time. The win catapults KCB to the second position with 33 points, a point adrift of leaders Tusker, who face off with Wazito tomorrow. The loss is the 10th for Mathare United in 15 matches and compounds them to the relegation woes. And Manchester City defender Ruben Dias has been voted Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year. The Portugal international was a comfortable winner ahead of Tottenham forward Harry Kane and City's teammate Kevin De Bruyne. 24-year-old Dias has enjoyed an outstanding first campaign at the Etihad since signing for around 65 million euro from Benfica in September. Dias has helped Pep Guardiola's City win the League Cup once more and regain their Premier League title, and also reach the Champions League final, where they're expected to face off with Chelsea in Porto on the 29th of this month. To some last night's fixtures, and Juventus beat Atalanta 2-1 to win the Italian Cup for the 14th time last night, as fans returned to the stadium for the first time in over a year. Goals from either half of Dejan Kulosevic and Federico Chiesa gave coach Andrea Pirlo his second trophy of the season after the Italian Cup on a day he was marking 42 years. In France, Paris Saint-Germain won the French Cup for the 6th time in 7 years by beating Monaco at the Stade de France. Maurice Icardi put Mauricio Pochettino's side ahead after 19 minutes, slotting in from Kylian Mbappe's pass before Kylian Mbappe sealed the win with the second one. In the English Premier League, Liverpool moved into the Premier League top 4 for the first time since February, with a 3-0 win over Burnley, as Jurgen Klopp's men remained on course to salvage a place in the next season's Champions League, courtesy of goals from Roberto Firmino, Nathaniel Phillips and Alexander Oxlade-Chamberlain. In another fixture, Tottenham bids to qualify for Europa League suffered a blow in a 2-1 defeat against Aston Villa in what could be Harry Kane's last home game for the club. And finally, Arsenal kept alive their hopes of qualifying for the Europa League with a vital 3-1 win at Crystal Palace at the Selhurst Park through Nicolas Pepe and Gabriel Martinez goals. That's your sports. I'm Joseph Maingi.
Thank you, Joseph, for that sports update. And that's it for Newswatch tonight. Thank you for your valuable company. My name is Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Join us tomorrow, same place, same time. For now, have a good night. God bless you.